Your arms won't grow if you're only doing standard dumbbell curls or even heavy compounds, especially if you've been training for years. So in this video, I'll show you which exercises to do and exactly how to program them so your arms grow so fast people think you're on steroids. But first, I need to explain the trap that I fell into so that you don't waste years like I did. My first ever workout program didn't have a single arm exercise in there. I was just doing the big lifts, like bench presses and chin-ups. And that worked. I got stronger, I saw my muscles growing, happy days. But at some point, my arms just stopped growing. And I couldn't really understand why. I was training hard, I was getting stronger on my lifts, I was eating chicken and rice 4 times a day, and all just didn't seem to work anymore. So then I started researching. I learned about biomechanics and got one of the most respected bodybuilding qualifications in the world. And that's when I realized compound exercises use your arms, but they don't actually train your arms. Let me explain. Look at these compound exercises, and especially where the arm is in relation to the body. In all these movements, the arm stays in front or beside the body, and that's exactly the problem, because both the tricep and the bicep each have a muscle that these exercises consistently undertrain. In fact, the single most important muscle for massive arms is impossible to fully train with just a compound movement. It's the long head of the triceps. The triceps make up 2/3 of your upper arm's muscle mass, and the long head is the biggest head, which means that growing this head is the single fastest thing you can do to blow up your arms. And the reason pressing compounds don't train this is simple. The long head crosses the shoulder joint, and because of this, most compound exercises can't train this head as effectively as you should. Because studies consistently show that to maximize growth of the long head, the arm needs to be above the head and it needs to be loaded in the stretch position. Some of the greatest bodybuilders already knew this in the 70s.
I think it's important to get a very low stretch, letting the rope all the way back at the end to really get the belly of the long head of the tricep.
Science is now just explaining why it works. So if you want your arms to look massive, the overhead tricep extension should be your main tricep exercise. And there's 2 ways to do them. The first is with dumbbells or an easy bar, which you can do even if you're training at home. But there is an exercise that's even better. Because if we look at where the exercise is heaviest, it's around the middle of the movement, when the lower arm is horizontal. And that's why I like to do the overhead extensions in a cable station. It just gives a little bit more constant tension and control of where we make the exercise heaviest. The long head benefits most from biasing the stretch in that overhead position. Now, while the long head is the fastest way to massive arms, there's 2 more heads of the triceps that need a completely different movement. These other 2 heads don't cross the shoulder joint, so any pressing movement in front of the body is what targets those. Skull crushers, close grip bench press, dips, tricep pushdowns, they're all different exercises, but your arm is doing the same thing in all of them, straightening in front of the body. From those, my personal favorite is the cable pushdown, because again, it gives you constant tension and allows you to set it up so the stretch is heaviest. Now, if you enjoy the close grip bench press or dips, keep them. They work as your pressing movement. But here's the thing, if you're struggling to grow your arms after multiple years of lifting, you simply can't get away with just doing a compound movement anymore. You need 2 exercises that work together, an overhead extension and a pressing movement, which can be that compound. So now you know how to blow up your triceps. But here's the truth. Massive triceps mean nothing if you have small biceps. Now the biceps have the same problem as the triceps. Most guys are training them in the wrong position. And if you've only been doing chin-ups, hoping it'll get you massive biceps like gymnasts, here's the thing. Gymnasts train for hours every single day, which most of us simply don't have time for. But more importantly, they actually do curls. So if you want arms like that without dedicating your life to the gym, you need the right exercises in the right positions. The bicep has 2 heads, and each one needs a different exercise to grow. The long head of the bicep is what gives you the arm that peak when you flex. And just like the long head of the tricep, it has everything to do where your arm is in relation to your body. The long head connects to the top of the shoulder, and because of that, it only gets fully stretched when the arm is behind the body. Now look at every standard dumbbell or barbell curl you've ever done. Your arm is in front or beside your body in all of them, which means that the long head never gets that loaded stretch. And now some people will say, yeah, but the peak is just genetics, you can't train that. And there is some truth to that. Genetics determine the shape of your peak, the length of your muscle belly, and where it attaches. There's nothing you can do to change that. But the size of your long head, that's entirely trainable. Most people just never actually train it where it grows the most. And to fix that, the exercise to do is a behind the body curl. If you only have access to dumbbells and a bench, then the incline curl is fantastic. It stretches the long head and is relatively heavy in that stretch. But I recently switched to Bayesian curl, or should I say Bayesian curl, in a cable station, and the pump is insane. The constant tension, the heavy stretch. If you've never done this, put this in your program. This exercise should be illegal. But hey, you don't just want big biceps when you're flexing. You want your arms to look huge in a t-shirt. That's the short head, and the exercise that builds it is the preacher curl. It puts your arm at an angle in front of the body, which is exactly the position the short head needs to grow. But what makes it so effective isn't just the position, it's stability. Your arm is pinned against the bench, so the bicep has to do all the work through the entire range of motion. And the preacher curl loads the stretch like no other regular curl does. If you've been doing regular curls for a year, then this exercise will be a game changer. I genuinely think the preacher curl is the reason my arms have grown so much in the last few years. But there's one more muscle that I rarely see anyone train. And it's the difference between arms that look good when you flex and arms that look good all the time. One of my clients actually said his wife hadn't complimented on how he looked in 18 years of marriage. After a few months of us working together, she randomly told him his arms looked great when he was wearing a t-shirt. The difference? He did exactly what I show in this video. There is one muscle that sits underneath the bicep, and when it grows, it pushes everything up and makes your arms look thick from every angle. It's the brachialis. All you need is one curl where you hold your hand neutral like a hammer curl. It's a small fix, but a big result. So now you got the right exercises, but just doing the right exercises won't blow up your arms. How hard you train them is what actually determines how fast your arms grow. I've seen guys do every single exercise in this video and still not grow. And it comes down to one single thing, taking the sets close to failure. From working with a lot of guys, most people are nowhere near as close to failure as they think they are. Here's a simple test that you can do. If you're hitting the same weight and reps on every set, you're not training close to failure. The weight or the reps that I can do drop significantly each set that I'm doing. If you're able to use the same weight and do as many reps on the second or third set, you've got more in the tank than you think. So once you're doing the right exercises and your intensity is dialed in, here's how to program it. Pair one bicep and one tricep exercise on each day. I personally do the overhead extension and the Bayesian curl on one day and the push down and preacher curl on the other. I just do 3 sets of each and 10 to 15 reps. If you decide to go for compound movements like a chin-up or a dip, I would probably go for 6 to 10 reps. Now pick a weight with which you can train to failure in the rep range and increase the reps over time until you're at the top of the rep range. Then add weight and reset. And if you want all of this in a ready-to-use program, you can grab my 2, 3 and 4 day split for free in the description below. But here's the truth. If you want your arms to really pop, you need wide shoulders. Because even the biggest arms look small when your shoulders are narrow. So watch this video next. I'll show you exactly how to build the wide shoulders that makes your arms look even bigger.